Hello, and welcome to this video tutorial on how to use AGS's Change Impact Assessment and Management module. If you're watching this tutorial in several videos, this is the second video in our series on how to use AGS's OCM ERP tool for change and planning management. My name is Francesca, and I'm the lead content producer for AGS. Today, I will be providing you with a step-by-step introduction and an overview of how to use the Change Impact module of the tool. Most AGS products are Excel-based, which was a strategic decision because most people are familiar with Excel. When you open the Change Impact Assessment and Management module for the first time, you will land on the home page. After that, whenever you open the module, you will land on the page that was last opened before the module was closed. For today's tutorial, we will start with an overview of the module's homepage. On the left of the homepage will be the Organizational Change Impact module's Template Database button. Clicking on this button will take you to the Template Database, where you will document the findings from your impact assessment. Later on, as part of today's presentation, I will provide you with a detailed overview of the Template Database. The red button in the middle of the home page of the Business Change Impact module is the Analytics Dashboard button. Clicking on this button will take you to the Analytics page. During today's presentation, I'll also provide you with a detailed overview of the Analytics Dashboard page. The yellow button is the Change Impacts Overview button. This takes you to a link where you can find helpful information about doing a change impact assessment. At the very top of the home page is a link that takes you to the main dashboard of the OCM ERP tool, where you can access all the modules and templates within the tool, including this one. To the right section of the home page, you will see the menu column. The first item on this column is the Read This First link. Clicking on this link will take you to a page within the module that includes some pieces of highlighted information. The second item on the Change Impact module's menu column is the Instructions and Tutorial page. Clicking on the third link takes you to AGS's Additional Products page of our website, where you can find other popular and frequently used change management and project management modules, templates, and samples. The fourth link on the Business Change Impact module's menu column takes you to the Password page, where you can find the password to unlock and relock pages within this module. Clicking on the fifth link, which is the Impact Assessment Framework link, will take you to a page within the module that has additional information on an industry-standard change impact analysis framework. The next link is the Single-Use License page. This provides details on the licensing rights you have for using this module. Purchasing this module or tool involves a single user right of usage, and so giving this module or tool to multiple people to use is not permitted. Additional versions of the module or tool need to be purchased for other users. If you have any questions while using this module, all you have to do is click on the Questions, click the Contact AGS link on the menu column, and you can draft a message to the AGS support team. Next on the menu column, there are two links to two very important pages that you should be aware of. The first one is the Enter Unique List of Orgs page. This is where you will enter the list of your organization's divisions, departments, and groups that will be impacted by the project. To ensure consistency in nomenclature, it is a best practice to use a centralized list of names. This list is then used as a drop-down menu on one or more of the columns on the Change Impact module's template database. This ensures that everyone is using the same nomenclature when populating the database. The other page is where you will enter the unique list of job roles that will be impacted by the change. On the template database, this list will be used as a drop-down option on one or more of the columns. These are the same two pages that we discussed in the tutorial for the OCM ERP tool's main dashboard, which was video 1 of this series. You can also access them from the OCM ERP tool main dashboard page. We'll review these two pages later in detail as part of this tutorial. The next items I would like to go over on the Change Impact module's menu column are the Sample Data buttons. While using this module, you can always view sample data for both the template database and the Analytics Dashboard. Clicking on the blue Sample Data buttons will take you to either of the sample data pages. We will discuss these two pages in detail as part of this tutorial. At the very bottom of the menu column on the Organizational Change Impact module's homepage will be a link to the heat map scale for impacts. This page will give you additional information on the low, medium, and high flags that will be used to flag the severity of each impact. We'll look at how those flags work later in this tutorial. And that covers the high-level overview of the menu column on the module's homepage. Next, let us review the Change Management Impact Modules Template Database page. I'm going to click on this button, which will take us to the database. When you initially open the module for the first time after purchasing it, the template database will be blank because nothing has been entered into it yet. But to illustrate what this Change Impact Assessment and Management Template database will look like as you start entering information, we have added a template with sample data to the module. You can access this template with sample data two ways. Click the Template with Sample Data button at the top of the template database, or on the home page of the Organizational Change Impact Assessment module, click on the blue Template Database with Sample Data button on the menu column to view the sample database. I'm going to access the sample data by clicking on the Template with Sample Data tab here at the top. The first thing I'd like to mention as we review the Change Impact Module's template database and the provided sample data is that the sample data on this page is just dummy data that has been included here for illustration purposes only. You can return to the main template database to enter your data anytime by clicking the Template Database tab at the top. Two other helpful tabs that are included on both the blank template database and the sample data page are the Home tab, which takes you out to the main page of the module, and the Main Dashboard tab, which will take you to the main dashboard of the OCM ERP tool. You'll see these two tabs throughout the pages of each module of the end-to-end OCM ERP tool. Just remember that Home takes you out to that individual module's home page, and Main Dashboard takes you out to the main tool where you can access all the modules. Now, let us review the columns on this Business Change Impact Database sample. The first column is the Unique ID column. This is where you will enter numbers for reference purposes. The second column is where you will enter the process name for the process that will be changing. The third column, which is the As Is column, is where you enter the current state process or procedure. This is basically a summary of how the process is being completed today. The fourth column is the To Be column. This is where you will enter the future state process or procedure. This is basically how the process will be conducted in the future. The fifth column, which is the Change Impact Description column, is where you enter what the impacted roles need to know. This is basically a description of what the impact will mean to the people and job roles that will be impacted by the change. For example, in the first row we can see that the accounting process is the process that will be impacted by the change. The As-Is state is that the accounting team currently uses QuickBooks and Excel templates for their accounting entries. The To Be state is that the accounting team will use Oracle Fusion Finance module in the future. So the change impact description includes the need for the accounting team to learn the new application. The next three columns will be used to document the division, department, and group that will be impacted by each specific change. These columns use a drop-down that is populated from the data that you enter into the Unique List of Orgs page. We'll review this page later in this tutorial. Depending upon how your organization is structured, you might not need to use all three columns. If your organizational structure only includes divisions or departments, then that's all you need to enter. Even if your organizational structure does include division, department, and group levels, you might still need to only enter the division name and ignore the department and group columns if everyone within the division will be impacted by the process that is changing. For example, if everyone within the sales division will be impacted by a particular process, then you don't need to call out specific departments or groups within sales. You can just enter sales under the division column and leave the department and group columns blank. However, it is rare to have a situation where everyone within a division is responsible for completing the same process. Normally, departments and groups within a division will have their respective processes and functions. Something that is important to note before we continue is that if a process that is changing impacts more than one organization, then you will need separate rows for each impacted division, department, or group. For example, if we look at reference numbers 3 and 4 on this sample data page, you will see that the sales lead entry process will impact both the sales operations and the sales support departments. And so on this sample database page, we have included 2 separate rows for each of these organizations. Okay, moving on to the next 3 columns. These will be used to capture impacted job roles information. The Role Current column will be used to document the role that currently completes the process today. The Role Future column will be used to document the role that will perform the process in the future. The Role Changes column will automatically be populated based upon whether or not the role will change in the future. What do we mean by this? Well, in some cases, the role performing the task today will not be the role performing the task after go live. As such, it was important for us to include this column to flag whenever a role changes or remains the same. Whenever a role is changing, this column will show a yes flag. Whenever a role is not changing, the column will show a no flag. If you enter the current role and are yet to enter the future role, or if you enter the future role and are yet to enter the current role, then the flag will show a TBD, to be determined flag. Both the Role Current and the Role Future columns use a drop-down that is populated from the data you entered on the Unique List of Job Roles page. We will review this page later in this tutorial. The next 3 columns that we will review today will be used to document the severity of each impact. The Level of Impact column will be used to document how much a group will be impacted. And for this, you'll be using an L for low, an M for mid, and an H for high impacts. It is important to know how much a process change will impact your teams, so you can assign resources as needed, like additional training, to ensure a smooth transition. Use H for significant impact to work, role, job, processes, and/or skills. Use M for some impact to work, role, job, processes, and/or skills. Use L for little to no impact to work, role, job, processes, and/or skills. Use the Number of Impacted Staff column to document how many people will be impacted by a process that is changing. Leave this section blank if the information is unavailable. Use the Timeline of Impact to the Group column to document when each group will be impacted. Leave this blank if the information is unknown. And if you need additional information on the level of impact flags, you can go to the home page of the Change Impact Assessment and Management module and click on that heat map scale image that was at the very bottom of the right-hand area under the menu column. It will take you to the heat map scale page. The next 3 columns that we will be discussing are the Change Management Benefits, the Training Requirements, and the Communication and Engagement Requirements columns. These columns will be used to document information and requirements for the change management team. If you wish, you can ignore these 3 columns and just use the Change Impact Description column to capture all of the change management planning. These columns will allow you to add more detail. The information gathered using these columns will be utilized extensively for developing change management plans, communication plans, training plans, and stakeholder engagement plans. The final batch of columns that we will be discussing on this page are the miscellaneous columns. You can use these columns to document when each row of information was entered into the page using the Date Entered column. You can also include the name of the person entering this information in the Name of Inputter column. When you have multiple related projects that need to be tracked holistically, you can enter the name of the different projects in the Name of Project column. The final column can be used to capture additional notes and information. Information from this Change Impact Template database will feed into the Analytics dashboard. This is what we're going to discuss next. To get to the Analytics dashboard of this Project Management and Change Management Impact platform, just click on the Home menu at the top left-hand side of this page to be taken back to the home page of the Change Impact Assessment module. When you get to the home page, click on this Analytics Dashboard button. When you initially open the Change Impact module for the first time after purchasing it, the Analytics Dashboard will be blank if nothing has been entered into your template database. However, as you start entering information into the template database, then the respective charts, data, and metrics will start to show up on the Analytics dashboard. At the top of the Analytics dashboard page is a Refresh Analytics button. Clicking this button ensures that any data that has just been entered into the template database is reflected in the Analytics dashboard. As a good rule of thumb, you want to click the Refresh Analytics button when opening this page and before reviewing your analytics. To illustrate what the Change Impact module's Analytics dashboard will look like as you start populating your template database, we have included a sample Analytics dashboard to the module. You can access this template with sample data two ways. Click on the Dashboard with Sample Data button at the top of the Analytics dashboard, or on the home page of the Change Impact Assessment module, click on the blue Analytics Dashboard with Sample Data button on the menu column. I'm going to click on the Dashboard with Sample Data button. Okay, so now we're looking at the Sample Analytics dashboard populated with our sample data. I want to point out the blue tab at the top titled Analytics Dashboard. This tab takes you from the sample data dashboard back to the Analytics dashboard for your data. The Analytics section that I would like to start with is the Impacted Processes table. This table tells you how many processes will be impacted. Another way to describe this is that it shows you how many processes will be changing. To the right of the Number of Impacted Processes table will be another table that shows you the total number of impacted users. As a reminder, all of this information will be coming from the data you enter in the Change Impact Assessment template database. The section below the Impacted Processes and Impacted Users tables provides further breakdown of the analytics data. In this section, you can easily see the list of processes and the total number of people that each process will impact. The next analytics section to pay attention to is the section that includes the bar chart. This provides a pictorial view of the impacted organizations and groups. The chart presents a high-level summary of the total number of divisions, departments, and groups that will be impacted. With the examples provided in the Sample Analytics dashboard, you can see that a total number of 6 divisions, 11 departments, and 9 groups will be impacted by the change. The section below this bar chart provides a tabular summarized view of the impacted organizations. Below the tabular summarized view, you will find an additional breakdown of the summarized data. The summarized breakdown shows you the list of impacted divisions, the list of impacted departments, and the list of impacted groups. The next Analytics Dashboard section to review is the Severity of Impact section, which includes multiple impacts analytics. The first table is the Severity of Impacts to Divisions. This table provides a summarized view of the total number of divisions that have low, mid, and high impacts. Something to note is that some divisions might have more than one level of severity. So, for example, if a division, let's say the sales division, has a high impact based on some processes that will be changing, and also has a low impact from other changing processes, then the sales division will be included in both the low and the high impacted groups counts. So the number of divisions in this table can exceed the total number of divisions that you have because one may be reflected in more than one row. The second table is the Severity of Impacts to Departments. This table provides a summarized view of the total number of departments that have low, mid, and high impacts. Again, departments might have more than one level of impact severity. So, for example, if a department, let's say the sales department, has a high impact based on some processes that will be changing and also has a low impact from other changing processes, then the sales support department will be included in both the low and high impacted counts. The third table in this section is the Severity of Impact to Groups. This table provides a summarized view of the total number of groups that have low, mid, and high impacts. And just like divisions and departments, groups can also have more than one level of impact severity. Thus, the same group can show up in more than one impact row. Below the respective Severity of Impact tables for divisions, departments, and groups, you will find the severity of impacts for job roles. This table provides insights on the total number of job roles that have low, mid, and high impacts. Roles can also have more than one level of impact severity. So for example, if a role, let's say the corporate IT product engineer role, has a high impact based on some processes that will be changing and has a low impact from other processes, then the corporate IT product engineer role will be included in both the low and the high impacted roles count. I'm highlighting this for each table because it's easy to get confused when you see more job roles or departments or groups listed in the table than you have in total. So it's important to remember one role can be listed more than once in the table. The next analytics section are two boxes below the severity of impact section. The first box provides insights on the total number of times a role will change. This means the total number of times a role will not perform the same task in the future. As an example, if a process or task is currently performed by a sales operations specialist today, and in the future after go live, a sales support manager will be responsible for completing that specific process, then the sales operations specialist role will be counted as a role that will be changing. A job role might be counted multiple times based upon how many existing processes they will not be responsible for in the future, or how many new processes they will take on in the future. The second box in this section provides insights into the total number of times a role will not change based upon each process that will be changing. For example, if a process will change, let's say instead of using Salesforce.com, the process will involve using Oracle Cloud in the future, but it's the same role or person that will perform this changing process, then that role will be counted as one instance where a process will change, but the role will not. These pieces of key data points can be included in your impact reports to senior leadership regarding how many times roles will or will not change in the future after go live. The next set of analytics provides insights on the roles that are currently performing tasks. The number of impacted current job roles table shows you the total number of job roles that will be impacted, and below this table you will see the list of impacted roles. The final chart on the Business Change Impact Module's Analytics dashboard is a pie chart. This highlights the severity of impacts. This is an additional illustration for reporting purposes. You can see here that most groups, 5, will have a medium impact from the changes, while 4 groups will have a low impact, and 2 groups will have a high impact. If ever you would like to see more views and more charts, click on this button here to contact the AGS team for a quote. Now we're going to look at the last button on the Change Impact module. You can click on the Homepage tab at the top of the Analytics dashboard to go back out to the module's homepage. Then click the Change Impacts Overview button. This page has a link to a Change Impacts Assessment and Management Overview. If you're new to Change Impact Assessments, this is a great place to begin. Next, we'll go back out to the home page by clicking the tab at the top left. I'll give you a brief reminder of the Unique List of Orgs and Unique List of Job Roles pages. These are explained more fully in the first video in this series, which is the tutorial for the OCM ERP Tools main dashboard page. Before going over these two pages, I'd like to address the key reason why we chose to use this process of having a unique list of organizational groups and a unique list of job roles. To ensure consistency in nomenclature, it is best practice to use a centralized list of names. These lists are then used as drop-downs on the appropriate columns throughout the 8 modules in the OCM ERP tool for change and planning management. This structure is important because it ensures that you or anyone else populating the information on the template database is using the same nomenclature. For example, a unique list structure limits when someone inputs upper level as upper space level using 2 words, but then someone else enters upper level as 1 word or enters upper dash level using a hyphen. Inconsistent variations lead to data integrity and consistency issues, which is why using a unique list of organizational names and job roles is essential. We'll take a look at the Unique List of Orgs page first by clicking this link. The first column you will see is the division column. This is where you will enter the unique list of all divisions in your company. The second column is where you will enter the unique list of all departments in your company. Use the group column to input the unique list of groups across your organization. Where possible, make sure to include the list of every organization within your company. This way they are all included as part of the drop-down options on the template databases in the appropriate modules for easy selection. Anywhere you see columns for divisions, departments, and groups in this module and other modules in the OCM ERP tool, the drop-down menu will be populated by your entries into this page. This is a master page that is shared by all modules in the tool, so you'll see there is an option here to go back to the main dashboard. You can either click the house icon at the top or click the main dashboard tab. We are now at the main dashboard of the OCM ERP tool. From here, we'll go back into the Change Impacts module that we were reviewing to get back to the module's homepage. Next, I'll click on the Unique List of Job Roles page. To populate the job roles column on this page, you can save time by asking your HR department for a list of the job roles across the organization. Copy the provided list and save as text onto the job roles column. It is important that you right-click and save the data as values to maintain the existing formatting. Where possible, make sure to include the list of every job role across your company. This way they are all included as part of the drop-down options on the template databases in the appropriate modules for easy selection. And that concludes the overview of the Unique List of Orgs and Unique List of Job Roles pages. To get back out to the main dashboard from this page, just click the house icon at the top. Then we'll click on the Change Impact icon to get back to that module's homepage. And that covers the main areas and infrastructure of this AGS Change Impact Assessment and Management module. All of the information that I have provided today is documented in the Instructions and Tutorial page of the module. Just go to the home page and click on the Instructions and Tutorial link, and you'll find the job aid for using this module. Once again, my name is Francesca, and I'm the lead content producer for AGS. I hope this step-by-step video tutorial will be a great learning process for helping you understand how to use the Change Impact Assessment and Management module of the OCM ERP tool, as well as understanding the overall infrastructure of the module. If you have any questions or if you need additional features and capabilities to be developed for you, just send us an email and your question or request will be routed to the right contacts. Now, we are going to review the next module within the OCM ERP tool, which is the Organizational Readiness module. If you are watching this end-to-end OCM ERP tutorial in a series of separate videos, the video on the Organizational Readiness module is the one to watch next.